Ukrainian President Zelensky says peace talks without Ukraine will not achieve anything as the US and Russia prepare for discussions on August the 15th. He reaffirms Ukraine will not surrender land despite Trump's hint at territorial concessions. Several Arab and Muslim countries have condemned Israel's plan to take control of Gaza City as a dangerous escalation. 20 nations, including Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Turkey, call it a flagrant violation of the international law and an attempt to entrench illegal occupation. NATO has hailed the signing of a US-brokered peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan as a significant step forwards. NATO spokeswoman Alison Hart thanked US President Donald Trump for his efforts in bringing peace to the region. Thousands have gathered in Nagasaki to mark the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing as the regional mayor warns that current global conflicts risk triggering a nuclear war. This day on 1945, the United States dropped a 10,000-pound plutonium bomb, killing tens of thousands of people. Syria will not participate in planned talks with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces in Paris, according to Syria's state news agency. The government source cited a previous forum organised by the US-backed SDF, calling it a violation of an agreed-upon accord. Three Thai soldiers were injured by a landmine while patrolling the border with Cambodia days after the two countries agreed to a ceasefire. One soldier has lost a foot and two others were injured in the incident near Sisaket and Preah Vihear provinces. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum says the US military will not enter Mexican territory following reports of Trump's directive against Latin American drug cartels. Sheinbaum insists that there will be no invasion, only cooperation. Syria will not participate in planned meetings with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces in Paris. We start this hour in Europe, where Russia says its forces have captured the village of Lubinivka in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. The announcement came from the Russian Defense Ministry on Saturday and was carried by a state news agency. The village lies in one of the most fiercely contested areas of the ongoing conflict, a region that has seen months of heavy fighting. Moscow says the advance is strategically significant, strengthening its position in eastern Ukraine. The move comes amid mounting international scrutiny and concerns over the conflict's impacts on regional stability. Yablonivka's capture is seen as a key moment in the battle for the control of the Donetsk region, as both Russian and Ukrainian forces continue to press their offensives on multiple fronts. In a parallel development, US President Donald Trump has announced that he will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin on August the 15th in the American state of Alaska to negotiate a peace deal to end the war in Ukraine. The summit marks the first face-to-face meeting between the two leaders since Trump's 2024 re-election and comes as Ukraine rejects any proposals involving territorial concessions. International opposition is growing to a potential land swap solution proposed at the talks. We're now joined by Mati Zawayeg. He's a geopolitical expert and he joins us live from Israel. Thank you very much, Mati, for joining us here on the program. Mati, the big news today, obviously a face-to-face meeting between President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin. We'll discuss the backdrop of what's going on the ground after this. However, do you think any serious move towards peace can be met given Ukraine's absence at these potential talks in Alaska?
Well, thank you for having me again. I think nothing changed because from the beginning, the position of the Russian side is that if he's going to talk with someone, he's going to talk directly with Donald Trump and not with Zelensky, like saying that, okay, we have the upper hands on this side, we are the big empire, we are only talking to big empires to try to have a solution on this. Then, in some point, he said that maybe he's going to meet Zelensky to discuss this, but now Trump saw that nothing is moving, and maybe he's going to have an agreement with Vladimir Putin that they are going to have a solution between them before getting the Ukrainians involved. From the, let's say, the boots on the ground, what is going on is nothing more than the continuous fighting in an area that was originally said by the Russian side that they want Donetsk and Lugansk, like Russia feels areas that people speak Russia, that they have Russian traditions, that they must be part of themselves, changing all the first narratives of denazification of Ukraine and all what they was really talking at that time. But anyway, taking another village and another village is just to have more leverage in the moment that they are going to agree to sit and talk about a real ceasefire and maybe finalizing this war, and with all the implications that it means, that they are trying to complete the conquer of the eastern Ukraine. This village that you said in the beginning is north of Mariupol, south of Poltava, and again, Russia is trying to get the maximum of territories before they agree to have a ceasefire. That's what's happening now. And I think Zelensky knows that at this point, even if it's going to say Trump that he get the beginning of a framework of an agreement, it's better for him than just losing and losing more territories, and maybe he's not going to say nothing at this point.
Matti, why is Lubyanivka considered strategically important in this broader battle for the region of Donetsk?
Because all the fightings that are going forward and backward, and they have taken these territories and the others, but to complete the completion of the conquer of all Donetsk and Lugansk, you need also this as a pivotal place to go from there to the north and to the west. I mean, if this is going to be the future borders, they are really going to be in a position that all the territories from Donetsk and Lugansk are completely into Russian side. Also with what it means for Putin himself, but also with all the rare earths and all the areas that they really want to keep them for the minerals and from everything. The same that Trump has said in the past, that he wants also the ones that are from the Ukrainian side.
Yes, Matti Zaweg. Please stay with us to discuss further geopolitical updates. Thank you very much. But next we move over to the United States, where the Trump administration has launched a review of Harvard University's federally funded research, threatening to seize or license its patents over alleged legal breaches. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick cited the Bayh-Dole Act, allowing the government to take control of patents if public benefits are not maximized. Harvard was ordered to provide a list of federally funded patents by September the 5th, including details on licensing and US manufacturing. The move adds pressure amid federal funding freezes linked to allegations of campus anti-Semitism. Harvard holds over 5,800 patents and hundreds of technology licenses. Critics warn the administration's actions could threaten academic freedom under the pretexts of regulatory enforcement. The Bayh-Dole Act aims to promote US innovation through taxpayer-funded research. We're once again joined by Matti Zaweg to discuss this further. Matti, Donald Trump's seemingly battle against educational institutions of the United States is obviously an ongoing thing with multiple institutions. Has the US government ever taken such actions against major universities before, and what were the outcomes?
Well, I think this is the continuation of the policy that has been implemented from the beginning of the Trump administration. trying to, put in order the mix between academic freedom and the academic freedom of giving extremists the possibility of taking over the big universities in the US, especially the ones that they are called the Ivy League. But in this case, they are going to try to complete all the process of denying them for funds that they are federal funds for research, and saying that if you are doing this research and from this research you are getting patents, you cannot use the money of the patents, but even if you don't use the money of the research. I mean, they want to deny from these universities all the money that they can get in all the process and the way of this research. And this is another tool to, another tool and another step in this fight, that this is the fight not only against the academic freedom, but also for the way that the universities must behave and behave towards all the students. Because if you are a Jewish student, why are you to blame for something that happened in the Middle East? Why are you being harassed and nothing is happening? And this was the root of everything. Of course, also against Israeli students, but first of all, American Jewish that cannot be free, they cannot use their traditions and their hats, the kippah or anything, because they are going to be attacked in a place that should be equal for everybody. And this was the root of everything. And you can miss with this all the ideology also from the Republican Party, that many of these boards in all the big universities, they have a tendency of being Democrats and receiving money from Democrats, the donors, including those of Qatar.
Mati,
and then this is doing everything very complicated. But I think what you said is part of the same process.
Mati, some people would say that they're worried about the United States Constitution being infringed. The First Amendment cites freedom of speech for everyone. Do you not think that Donald Trump could be infringing on that amendment in the way that he has approached these obviously anti-Israeli governmental protests, pro-Palestinian protests? What are your thoughts on that, Mati?
I think you are right, and you need the freedom of expression, and you have also freedom of protest. You don't have freedom to vandalize a university or to attack physically students because you don't agree with them. And that's what was happening in the Biden era. Thousands of students in all the big universities were attacking Jewish or Israeli students because they think different, or even non-Jewish or not Israelis for thinking different. This is not freedom of expression. I mean, of course, it must be academic freedom. It must be also the freedom of doing a protest, of shouting in the middle of the road, everything. But what about vandalizing? What about physical attacking? This is something that was not taking care of the big universities. And I was wondering in 2 years, why they don't take care about this? Why they don't put their police to avoid all this behaving? Not only about anti-Israelis or anti-Jewish or I don't know what. Even if you are anti-Sudani or anti-Myanmar or anti-Chinese, you must do things according upon the law, and not vandalizing and not attacking people. So if they are attacking these problems from the university, it's okay. If they are just attacking someone that is talking against something, so of course it's not okay. And this is the place of the court to say what they are infringing or not.
Okay, Mati, thank you very much. You are staying with us for another United States-related development, where President Donald Trump has invited Poland's new president, Karol Nawrocki, to Washington for an official meeting in early September. Nawrocki, who was sworn in on Wednesday, has emphasized the importance of strong Polish-US relations. Backed by Poland's main nationalist opposition party, Law and Justice, Nawrocki met Trump in the Oval Office shortly before the Polish election in May and received Trump's support. On the day of his inauguration, Trump sent an official congratulations letter inviting Norocki to the White House for a working meeting scheduled for September the 3rd of 2025. This invitation highlights the continued close ties between the two countries under Poland's new leadership. We're once again joined by Mati Zaweg. Mati, Norocki is a staunch Trump fan. He's also an EU skeptic. What does this mean for both Poland and current US-Warsaw relations?
I think this is a continuation of the way he has behaved towards Europe from the beginning. I mean, when he speaks very nice about Giorgia Meloni, or about the far right in Spain or in Portugal, or if you remember the intervention of J.D. Vance in the German elections, really being on the side of the AfD, many people was really surprised about us, about this intervention. And this is another point in the same process of intervening in favor of people that they like more than others. And in this case, we are talking about a PM in Poland that is Donald Tusk, that he was also very important in the EU and in the previous administration. So I think you understand already that everyone that was nice to the previous administration, the Trump administration is not very nice with him. But of course, we are talking about politics, and he was elected with a narrow gap. But he was elected. He's from the party that lost the elections some time ago in Poland, imposing again another kind of government, a more center-right government, and changing all the directives and the laws that they were put by the Norocki's party, Law and Justice, before, that they were very nationalist, including things that for Israelis, for instance, were very problematic, like trying to deny the involvement of a lot of people in Poland in the time of the Second World War as collaborators of the Nazis. So all these problematic points, in some way or another, now they are really in another phase. They have very good relations with Israel. And in this context, Norocki is going to have a backup from the US administration, because also in the next elections, things can change in Poland. If they are going in the future also to ask Donald Tusk to come to Washington, maybe we can say that this is relevant and this is equal for everybody. But I think we know with this administration, you have also politics, but you have also a lot of personal things that they are beyond politics, and I think this is one of them.
Yes, Mati Zaweg, thank you very much for joining us and for your insight on those issues. Pleasure to have you on the programme. We now move on and over to the Indo-Pacific, where South Korea's military says it had spotted North Korea dismantling some of its border loudspeakers. The devices have long broadcast propaganda towards the south. The move comes after Seoul began removing its own loudspeakers earlier this week. President Lee Jae-myung's government switched off anti-North Korean broadcasts soon after taking office 2 months ago, aiming to ease tensions. It is the first such action by Pyongyang since Lee's election. The military says it is unclear if dismantling is happening across the entire border, but monitoring will continue. The step comes after years of escalating tension between the two neighbours. We're now joined by Dr. Sanjay Kumar. He's a journalist for the Korea Herald. He joins us live from the South Korean capital of Seoul. Thank you very much for joining us, as always, Dr. Kumar. How meaningful is it, of these reports, obviously, that North Korea are dismantling its loudspeakers along the border, especially in response to the fact that South Korea have just done exactly the same thing? Is this a warming of a relationship?
From South Korean Joint Chief of Staffs, the North Koreans have been dismantling in the frontline areas, but whether they are dismantling it in other areas alongside the border, it is still to be confirmed, and in a couple of days we can get confirmation on that. When you ask Thomas that whether it is warming up the relationship, I cannot completely say in a very confident manner, because this is not a new thing. This is this leaflet, loudspeakers, and propaganda stuffs in the form of leaflets, and then these short ways of on and off pushbacks from the both sides has not been a recent story. It is happening since 2016, when North Korea they tested their fourth nuclear test. So this is not a new thing, but yes, other than nothing, something is better. So something is better than nothing. At least North is showing some kind of de-escalation on the border, which is a good news for the time being. Yeah, but how long it will go, it is very early to say.
Dr. Kumar, South Korea's new president, Lee Jae-myung, is open to the idea of de-escalating tensions between in the Korean peninsula. How important is this to the people, to the public of South Korea, if at all?
During the Moon Jae-in administration that lasted from 2017 to 22, President Moon that time perceived North Korea as a kin, I mean brothers and sisters, and they are also part of the family. We have the same ethnicity. So that kind of tone was there during the Moon administration. But during Yoon administration, the former one, had a very hawkish approach and a very strong approach, considering North Korea as not less than an enemy. And North Korea also considered South Korea as completely like unrelated countries, like a two Korea concept, and they didn't want any kind of communication with South Korea. So this was the whole situation in the last 7-8 years. But President Lee Jae-myung, he has a reconciliatory approach. He wants to engage North Korea with reconciliation, dialogue, and he wants to follow the legacy of sunshine policy in a reconciliatory manner. How long it will go, only the time can tell. But yes, Korea looks, I mean, both Korea looks a little de-escalated this week, I should say.
Yes, Dr. Kumar, thank you very much for your insight on that topic. Always a pleasure having you on the programme. We now move on once again and back over to the United States, where 3 people have been wounded in a shooting in New York City's iconic Times Square. People say one person is in custody currently and is being questioned, but no charges have yet been filed. The incident happened at around 1:20 a.m. local time, sending crowds running for cover as officers secured the scene. Social media videos show police surrounding a vehicle and tending to victims lying on the ground. All those injured have been hospitalized now, but their wounds are not life-threatening. The shooting comes as New York records its lowest number of shootings in decades, with incidents down 23% since last year. We're now joined by Dr. Satoru Nagao. He's a fellow at the Hudson Institute. He joins us live from Tokyo, Japan. Dr. Nagao, thank you for joining us. This is part of a broader trend of shootings that occur in the United States on a very, very regular basis. What do you have to say about those shootings, and where does this incident fit into them?
Yes, there are a variety of options where scenario it will happen. If this incident, the background of this incident is terrorism related, of course it will affect the diplomacy. because this is U.S. is under attack. The Trump administration need to say because the government is a protector of the people and they need to show something as a protector. So that's why this is attack against the United States. Of course, U.S. will retaliate as a response. But if this is just a crime, but related with immigration, that is another scenario. In this case, because of the Trump administration, is image of the Trump administration is tough choices against illegal immigration. So that's why if this incident is related to the immigration policy, of course, Trump administration will try to show more strong stance against illegal immigrants. That could happen. So this is second scenario. And interesting thing is the Trump administration has already spent nearly half a year. So that's why gradually he need to show data of the law and order in the United States. If the after the Trump administration was sworn in, the law and order situation has improved. If this is data that he can show, of course he will say, I am the good protector, something like that. So this is this incident has happened, and this is a typical incident. And under the Trump administration, still the gun crime is going on, and that is not good for the image of the Trump administration. So that one is a third scenario. So which scenario we will see, it rely on the background of this crime. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. We have, Dr. Nagao, we've seen a decrease in New York's gun crime rate. What are your thoughts on that and the current state of gun violence in the United States? We have seen another shooting today in Georgia, which has killed a policeman who was waiting at a door. What are your thoughts on the current state of gun violence in the United States, and do you see any political maneuverability in regards to the current United States political environment?
Two types of the situation will affect the law and order in the United States, I believe. One is, of course, law and order system, the relation between police force and local people. This is one thing. So this is related to immigration or not, but anyway, simply the number of the police who need to take care of some certain number of people, or if people trust the police, that kind of society is relatively tough against the crime. So that's why how to create this matter. And that is one thing. Another thing is the economic situation, because in the United States, easy to hire and easy to fire. So that's why if the economy is good, of course the company hires many workers, but if the economy is bad, they fire the many workers, and so these people who lost the job need to find money to live. So that's why the crime rate rise is a pattern in the United States. So in these two situations, built from these two situations, under the Trump administration, people believe that the police force can get some right of the activity relatively. So police is relatively free because the government they can trust the government. The government will protect the police, so that's why police can move relatively freely. So that's why under the conservative or right-wing government, law and order situation is improved based on the first aspect I said, the relation between the police force and the local people. But in this case, without trust in the local people, the police cannot move because police job rely on the trust. And another one, the economy. Economy is improving, but price is rising still. So that's why is it enough level for the most of the people? U.S. is a little bit controversial issue just now. Maybe we will see maybe half a month later. But Until now, data says situation is improving. This means that the Trump administration is succeeded both of two. The first one is police force and the local people relation, or another one is economic situation, I believe, based on this data. Thank you.
Dr. Nagao, thank you very much, as always, for joining us on the program. Pleasure to have you on. Well, that is all that we have time for.